Hello. I was gonna film this intro at like 1:50 before Loki dropped, on Disney Plus. And by the time, I just realized that's my phone I'm filming on, so I can't show you the time. But the time it is right now is 1:51. Currently, I checked on my phone at 1:49. I was like, let's make sure Loki didn't drop like 10 or 15 minutes early, because sometimes they've dropped episodes just out of nowhere, like a few minutes earlier than they should. Usually it's 2 a.m. for us, 12 a.m. It would be 12 a.m. Pacific Standard, so 2 a.m. for Central Standard Time where I am. So I was like, alright, cool, I'll watch Loki at 2 a.m. and I'll record this intro. It'd take like a few minutes. Loki's already dropped. If you want to see the first frame when it starts, it's just New York. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'm assuming it's about to open with where Endgame is, where the Tesseract slides in it, Loki gets it, goes away. I'm just guessing. This intro is to explain what the video is. The video is me reviewing Loki, not just episode 1 and 2 and weekly as we go. I'm going to review them with spoilers all together. I'm going to wait when the finale drops, which should be July 14th. You will see this video on July 14th. Currently, as I'm sitting here, it is June 8th. 9th. It is the 9th. I forgot the 8th was a few hours ago because I just got to the 9th. So June 9th. The finale, which will be episode 6, will be out July 14th. And that's when you should see this video, all 6 episodes reviewed and spoiled. This is an intro letting you know that I'm going to review each one weekly as they come out. So, I'll age 6 weeks as this goes on, if you get what I'm saying. So, that was it. Just wanted to say, enjoy the video from wherever it comes from now, because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I've never reviewed a show that comes out weekly like this, or a show in general, so I feel like it's a good show to start with, since I've heard it's kind of the biggest of the MCU shows so far, and you can kind of already feel that with the hype. In case you wanted to know, love WandaVision, thought the finale was weak, thought Falcon Winter Soldier was just pretty good throughout, and the finale was weak. So, great show, weak finale. Falcon Winter Soldier, okay show, weak finale. So, that's just what I'm letting you know. And the video starts here. Transition. Alright, part 2. Well, it's not part 2 of this. It's part 2 for me recording. I recorded an intro. This is the first episode of Loki, my review for the first episode. I was really looking forward to this show. I wanted a unique show, something different. What WandaVision brought was amazing. I thought that was very unique for what it was. I didn't usually get to see a show like that before, or anything from Marvel like that. Falcon Winter Soldier, with some unique ideas and stories that it had to tell. The fact that it was like more of a played drama, it was kind of like a drama, more than anything else. It was really cool, but it wasn't like unique. I felt like it was like Winter Soldier means like Captain America 1. It's kind of this just very average mixture, not because what those films are better in my opinion, Captain America the Winter Soldier and the first Captain America. I think those two movies are better than Falcon and Winter Soldier is overall. But it just didn't stick with me well. Loki, just from episode 1, is a lot of exposition and setup and explanation and dialogue and story. This is not kicking into like where the show is going yet. It clearly deals with multiverse timelines, different Lokis, and of course it's going to be a character study of Loki himself as the show goes on. That's what the arc is overall for Loki, because it's called Loki. It's not just going to be him doing stuff for the MCU and then he's pointless. It's his character. It's his show. You clearly feel like this is about Loki. But for what's really creative about the show, and in the first episode, is it takes place right after Endgame, where in that, when they go back in time to 2012, Loki gets the Tesseract, time travels with it. We don't know where. We just don't know where. And then this just shows you where it leads to there. It leads into the TVA, which is basically this time agency. I don't want to try to describe it. It's confusing, but since I wanted to make this spoilers each episode, because by the time you see this, the whole show is out. You should have seen it. The TVA is this time variant agency that lists when a certain event is happening on a different timeline. So there's the main timeline, which I'm forgetting already what they call it, the sacred timeline. and that timeline is like the linear timeline that everyone follows. It's the MCU, basically. The timeline that we've seen in the MCU with Iron Man all the way up to Spider-Man Far From Home, that's the main timeline. And there can be variants of that timeline within that timeline, just that stick there, but in all those variants, the same thing happens, or at least almost the same thing happens. What he did when he used the Tesseract is he's a variant from a timeline because they went back in time in that movie. They were doing something that the timeline wanted. So what the three gods wanted, there's like three people, and I'm sure it'll be revealed, and you might know who they are. That I'll leave unspoiled because I don't think we've gotten to that point. I do think they're going to talk about them more. Basically, they've made a timeline where this is supposed to happen, and every variant is going to be the same way that the main timeline sets up to happen. So in Endgame, when Cap used the Tesseract to go back in time, to return the stones, when they went back in time, they were doing what was good. They were doing what the timeline needed. Loki, being a variant from going back in time, being the variant of the main timeline, is completely fucking everything up. So they can either reset him or use him for something else. There's a fugitive running around. We keep seeing like Mobius, played by Owen Wilson, brilliantly by Owen Wilson, I should say, going around and exploring kind of a crime thing happening, like crime scenes of like his own team of the TVA getting murdered. And he says, we need Loki to help find him. And for about 25 minutes of the episode, the good middle of the episode, is Mobius explaining who Loki is to himself, his past and his future. He lets him know what his timeline and what his goal is going to be, what he does from after Avengers 1. Because again, in the timeline from Endgame, at the ending of Endgame, he leaves from Avengers 1. So this is Loki from Avengers 1. He hasn't grown as a person or a character yet. So he's growing as this character through seeing himself in the future in footage, and Owen Wilson explaining it to him. Owen Wilson is funny. He's like the complete opposite of what Loki is. He's a huge Loki fan. He knows everything about Loki. That's the idea of it. But he's like very strict and stern and calm, and he has like great comebacks. And Loki's constantly uneasy, in your face, trying to be like, who he is in 2012, where he's like, I'm a god, I'm better than you. That's all that Loki is. He's that stand-up dickhead asshole character we're used to, the god of mischief. So what it's cool is resuming his role from after the first Avengers is what develops him as a character. We haven't seen on screen him get like emotional, really sad moments, like of course when he dies in Infinity War. That's emotional to the audience. That's not him having his emotional scenes, him reenacting something very emotional. Here in the show, you get to see that. You get to see his reaction to his future, and when you see it, it's a huge breakdown. Tom Hiddleston is fucking great. It is sad. I didn't cry, but I was like, yeah, shit, this is like really hitting. Loki's a character we all love. So seeing the future, knowing where this goes, clearly what this ends with is he understands his goal and purpose. He's not able to go back to his timeline or home and live his life, but he can stay here with the TVA, as it seems, and help them on this mission to find who the fugitive is. In the ending, you reveal that the fugitive is another variant of Loki, as Owen Wilson mentioned to him, and then Tom Hiddleston's like, what the fuck? Then we get this great ending scene of more of TVA hunters, as you would call them, people who are hunting for fugitives and making sure things are going well, sort of like, I don't know what they call it. Let's just say TVA agents. So time variant agents. And they're looking for this person. Four of them land here, they see the person, they all get wiped out and murdered, and the person's in like a robe, we don't know who it is. Now based on the trailers, this is just a guess. So spoilers, but well, not really spoilers, because I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Lady Loki. We see like hints of like a lady throughout the trailer, and Tom Hiddleston's like sitting next to her. I'll put up an image of that here. And then everyone's been thinking that's Lady Black Widow. But then there's other people who think it's Lady Loki. I do think it's Lady Loki. I think they're hinting at that in the show as this is variants of Loki. We could see a kid Loki. We could see like the demonic Loki where he's like full demon. We could see Lady Loki. You could see different ones. It depends on what the show goes with, because they're clearly hunting this main Lady Loki variant. At least that's what this episode sets up. And based on the ending of it, that's what 2 is going to be about. And maybe that's what the whole show is about, is that kind of hunt for it. But as I'm hearing, it's also going to lead into crazy multiverse shit, which is all what you want to see to build WandaVision, Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man 3. That's all what you really want to hear. So overall, fucking great episode. It's a lot of exposition. This is the exposition episode, And I hear some people might be disappointed in that. Like, I've heard that from critics. They say, don't worry, because critics and a lot of people, fans, got to see episode 2 early. It's not on Disney Plus. Only episode 1 is. But episode 2, I'm hearing it's like episode 1 is okay if you don't have episode 2 in context. If you have 2 in context, 1 is amazing. So, whatever it is that 2 provides, we'll see next week. And I'll be reviewing it next week. But for you, it'll just be July 14th. I'm excited to see where it goes. It's fun. So, yeah. Loves all the acting, too. Every character's great. There's the desk guy who's really funny. The guy who just works at the desk and doesn't understand shit about the actual world. So everyone, when Loki talks to him, he's just like, how do you not know what a fish is? Have you never, like, experienced, like, eating food? Have you not had a life? Why are you using infinity stones to hold down papers? Like, weird shit to him all the time. There's, I always forget how to pronounce her name. Gugu Mbatha Raw, I believe is her name. I've seen her in other stuff before. She's kind of like this judge there, who is like the person who decides like if you should be reset. Reset in this case mean killed and kind of taken out of the timeline so you can't fuck everything up. And then I don't know the actress's name, but I'm gonna have to look her up. She plays like the main TVA agent that we see throughout this thing, who's in it, and she just hates Loki, and Loki is fucking with her, and she is fucking with him the whole time. And she's really funny. And then, of course, the 2 scene stealers are still Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, especially Owen Wilson. I can't see where he's going to go from this show, but based on this one episode, he's incredible. He's funny, he's serious and stern, but he feels like a guy from like the Twilight Zone and the MCU, where he can be like serious and creepy, but only creepy because of like where he is and like the power he has. Like he could completely fucking kill Loki or betray anyone. I don't know what the character's gonna do, but I'm excited because I think him and Loki are gonna form a great relationship and have a fucking great time through the show. So episode 2 will be out. Let me do my math. It's the 9th, so 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. June 16th. I'll be reviewing it June 16th. I probably won't be in the same where. Maybe I'll be slightly on a different side of the room. Who knows? Because I'm just reviewing this in my room, and for proof I watched it. Boom. Loki episode 1. Hope you're getting the screen. Alright. See you for episode 2. Hello everyone. This is currently, I'm wearing my Marvel shirt, perfect to fit. It's currently 3 a.m. on Wednesday, June 16th. To me it still feels like Tuesday because I haven't fucking slept. I was gonna go to bed and not watch Loki. I was gonna watch it in the morning and do a morning review. And here I am at 3 a.m. exhausted, and I just watched Loki, episode 2, of course, and I'm reviewing these as you'll see, same way I mentioned in the first part, which you'll already have seen, even though for me that was a week ago. Loki episode 1, good episode. Loki episode 2, just as good. It's a lot, again, exposition over explanation, continuation of like things that don't necessarily make sense, but I'm sure by the ending you're gonna be like, it was fun, I liked the reveals. Didn't need to fully make sense for me to just go with it, because it is kind of a time multiverse thing. You can say whatever the fuck you want whenever you have this type of shit. It's kind of like your backup plan, like, oh, we're gonna throw in stuff that has been here the whole time, but you didn't know we were the ones controlling it from the beginning, because they didn't have it written out. But when you have a universe that's been going on for shit since 2008, it's been 13 years since Iron Man, you gotta give them credit. Like, they've continued a really good sustainability of like continuation and continuity, and it's been entertaining that you just got to give them a pat on the back for the good things of it. Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, who plays Hunter B-15? She is great. She's really funny in it, and yeah, those three. It's mainly Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston's show. They fucking rule everything. Their chemistry is just so good that it makes all of it kind of like okay for what you're seeing at the time. Some pacing issues, some story explanations that reveal at the ending. Since you're not going to see it till all the episodes are out, this review, I can't spoil it. Lady Loki at the end, for me, not the biggest reveal. I knew Lady Loki was coming. People online are fucking flipping out like, what a crazy twist. Like, I expected it to happen. I expected it was Lady Loki. If not, they were being very unsubtle in the episode for it not to be. Small cameo by Miss Minutes, that was very funny. The ending is pretty grand. I'm not more excited that it is Lady Loki by the reveal. I'm excited to see what they do with Lady Loki and what they do with the multiverse, because that's what this episode sets up, is those two things. And where's Loki going to go in the story? Does he portray Owen Wilson? Does he try and convince Lady Loki as Lady Loki the real villain? I do feel that the Timekeepers are going to be created because I don't believe they're fully in control or real, and I do believe that's partly because of Gugu Mbatha-Raw's character, who is, I'm trying to think of her name. She is the one that always is dictating all the plans and is like, I listen to the Timekeepers. She was the judge at the court in the first episode. Here, she's the one telling Owen Wilson what to do and how to dictate things. I'm trying to think what else. What else is good? Okay. And final thing to say that is good, production design, it just keeps getting better. They keep, like, quickly going through these variety of places. And there was, like, one set, but they feel, like, so unique that it almost does feel like a Twilight Zone show, as people are saying. I will give it that. Nothing else big, besides a cool reveal at the ending for what the next episodes and the next continuing of the MCU is going to be. I didn't think the Lady Loki reveal, again, was shocking. I was just like, that's cool. I personally like that. It didn't come off like, holy shit, Lady Loki. It's not like when I watch WandaVision and, like, you know who's at the door and you're like, it's Pietro and it's fucking Evan Peters. Like, as much as that didn't come into light and I thought it was a funny troll in that show despite a disappointing idea, when Evan Peters showed up that first week, fucking the internet broke. And some people are saying that about Lady Loki. I don't feel that. But it was a good episode, good exposition type of fun show. I gave the first one, I think, an 8. I would have given it like a 7.5 or an 8. I would give this one a 7. It's good. It's not as good as 1 because, again, it continues exposition, but it's fun. And I'm having the most fun with this show compared to any show by the 2-episode point. If you're going just off WandaVision first 2, this first 2, Falcon Winter Soldier first 2, this definitely beats Falcon, and I would say it kind of beats WandaVision too. Like the uniqueness of it. So, see you at week 3. Hello everyone, this is my little mini review of Loki episode 3. You're probably wondering why I'm doing it laying down. I think I have a headache and migraine from work today. Today's date is currently, fuck, I don't even know the date at this point anymore. It's a Wednesday night. I'm not reviewing this at 2 a.m. directly leading into Wednesday after I watched the episode. I just had friends over earlier. They were still awake at this time when we watched it, but I didn't want to do a review, and I had a bunch of people over who wouldn't want to do a review with me. I thought I would just do it the night after I got home from work. It is like 11 p.m., and I thought episode 3 of Loki was the worst one yet. It is still exposition heavy and developing where the show could be going. It's unique to see Sylvie, aka Lady Loki, get developed a little bit. It's cool to see their interactions. There's some funny moments. A few that really work, a few that don't. Overall, though, it was just a weak episode. Not much happened. It's not to say it's bad when not much happens, but it feels like that center point of the show where you're trying to show more happening, but then they just don't really get to it. It even ends abruptly where I was like, oh, fuck, that's the ending? The ending being, because I can get into spoilers by the time this is out, that they are stuck on the planet, I already forgot the name of the episode, but they're stuck on the planet, is it the Lamentis? In, like, the future, and the shit is going down, it's about to get destroyed, they need to get to the rocket ship, they miss the rocket ship. My guess for episode 4, because it's not out yet, is Owen Wilson and them, the Timekeepers, are going to catch them, and they're going to be the ones to get them out of there last minute before they think they're about to die. That's just my guess. I could be wrong. We'll see where episode 4 goes, but for the moment, not a big fan of episode 3. Good performances still. I think she's doing a good job as Lady Loki, and Tom Hiddleston's obviously great. There's not really much else to go after in this concept. Hopefully we get more into multiverse, Timekeepers, back to the Timekeeper story, back to pushing Loki forward more than just giving him a character to bounce off of who is new, who we might see more. I don't know how much we're going to see of Lady Loki, but it would be okay if they brought her back for something in a different situation. Yeah. Weakest episode, probably like a 5 out of 10. Reminded me of Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3, where it was just not much happening after the very beginning and the very opening. The very opening and the very ending. So yeah, that is it for now. See you in episode 4. Hello everyone. So I did stay up till 2. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. now, but I did stay up till 2 a.m. to watch Loki. I put on my Instagram again that I was gonna sleep during it and wake up and watch in the morning. I did not. My light is on, so I have better lighting, because I've noticed the other Loki reviews, I've done it with dark lighting, and it doesn't look as good. Episode 4. Fuck. It's pretty crazy. For an episode that we just came through that I kind of said was disappointing because it mostly felt like a filler episode, this one is the opposite of filler. That was filler to get us to this point so they could just fucking push stuff in your face. And again, spoilers. As I go through all parts, you already know by the point you get to this point in the video, you'll know it's spoilers. I think that so far it has been the most consistent of the shows. I find it more entertaining and enjoyable than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm not so on the WandaVision level yet. I really liked WandaVision. I felt that was something different and probably their most unique. But I think this show is picking up to top that if it can maintain a good ending. I found that the other shows were weakening in their endings, and one of the episodes in their midpoint. This had a weak episode in its midpoint, but it doesn't feel like it was fully indelved. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like it wasn't not earned. Episode 3 in this series feels earned. Episode 4 was my problem at the midpoint with WandaVision, where it was kind of like, oh, you don't know what's happening? Well, here's a bunch of explanation for it for 40 minutes, and then we'll get back to the sitcom and the really cool shit, which 5 was an amazing surprise of an episode, if y'all remember that ending. But, like, it isn't like that. It has such a unique change to it. Loki has continued to impress. Even after a boring episode, it still makes sense to where we are here. My only minimal complaints is like we don't have enough time to develop Sylvie, but I am starting to like her more. I really enjoyed her here. She's kind of this badass heroine that we kind of feel Loki wants to be. She's like even cooler than him, and I mean that's kind of the talk of like who's the superior Loki, and that continues to be the series. Theory for the ending, I think it's either setting up Kang or simply that the person underrunning this is another Loki variant in the hints to fuck things up because it's about superior Lokis, and I've heard we're going to get like a King Loki look at the end. I've heard rumors about that, and if that's the case, then like he could be the superior Loki. I don't know, we'll see. With where this episode goes, we find out more about the Timekeepers. The Timekeepers themselves are not real, they're controlled under someone else. We know that, and I called this from episode 1, that Gugu Mbatha-Raw's character is technically a villain. She has betrayed everyone in this place. She has more information than all of us know. Clearly when Owen Wilson gets erased, and then she goes to get on her B-15's mind erased, and she's attempting that, and then she erases Loki at the very end, you're like, oh shit, she's like just killing everyone and getting everyone the fuck out of here, because they're all learning something. And as soon as she erases Loki at the very end, you know, like, okay, Sylvie does a badass move, and she holds it there, and she's like, you know what, I'm not gonna fucking erase you. You're gonna tell me everything that's happening right goddamn now. So we're gonna get all the reveals, like the pre-episodes have been doing with these other 3 shows. Full explanation to what is going on, a full setup to what has been happening, and then you're gonna get probably a really awesome ending that makes you go like, fuck, I want that finale, and we'll see where they go with it next Wednesday. I think it's going to be fun. Not only is next Wednesday Loki, but, you know, Black Widow's next week. I've had the chance to see it early at this point. I'm not going to do my thoughts. I don't want to discuss Black Widow, really. I did a review on my social media saying that I thought it was okay, but I don't want to discuss that until I can do a spoiler review. And I could drop my review now because the review embargo is lifted at this point. But I want to talk spoilers. I cannot get into what my feelings are about the movie without spoilers for that one. Just to let y'all know. Although this isn't going to be out until after Black Widow review, so now that I'm thinking about it, whoops. But Loki episode 4, goddamn fun. It's probably the best episode so far, if not 2. I found 2 to be a lot more fun, but I think this is setting up some big qualms. I've heard some people saying it's the best MCU episode of any of the shows in terms of all their singular episodes. I don't think this tops WandaVision episode 3 and 5 for me, or maybe even 6, the Halloween one. But it does top everything else. It tops all the Falcon and Winter Soldiers. It tops the first 3 of Loki. It tops some of the more minuscule episodes of WandaVision and that finale for sure. It's really good. Tom Hiddleston's great. Owen Wilson is fucking great. And God, when they erased Owen Wilson, I'm like, holy shit. You thought he died, but then when they erased Loki, I was immediately like, alright, he's not dead. Then there's that end credit stinger with the fucking OG looking Loki and then the kid Loki. And I'm pretty sure Black Loki? I'm not 100% sure that character. I could tell that was the OG costume, and obviously the kid Loki was pretty obvious. I believe in the credits they put 3 guest stars with their names next to it, so I don't remember. I saw Kid Loki, OG Loki, like the original one, and then something else. I can't remember what it was called, but that's clearly what that character is going to be. And I'm sure there's going to be more Lokis besides just them 3, because I'm guessing this is where all the variants get sent. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I can probably guess they're going to ravel up, and then all the Lokis are going to fight at the end. It's going to be literally a reason why it's called Loki is because the focus was on Loki. Even though it sets up stuff in the series, I've noticed these shows have went by their character names. That is what the show is. That is where the show will end with Loki. So that's why I'm thinking Kang might not be a part of it, but if they do set up Kang, gonna be an awesome reveal, and people are gonna shit their pants in excitement. And clearly it's setting up multiverse. And with this ending, there's totally reasons you can now see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man 3. So those are my thoughts on Loki episode 4. I'd give this one about an 8.5 out of 10. It is pretty great. Some minor complaints in the pacing, and I feel like Sylvie needs more development. I don't fully believe in the relationship and the love that Loki and her are having, like they're falling in love yet, but I'm gonna get there, I think. Probably by the ending I'll be a little bit more into it, but yeah. That's it for now. Hello everyone. Episode 5 currently is what I'm reviewing. So it's been already like a tiring past week, and I was just like forgetting everything happening. I literally forgot, so it was Monday, I worked a shift, and it's not Tuesday now, it's technically Wednesday at 2:50 a.m. currently. But like Tuesday, the whole day I forgot Loki was coming out till like 8 p.m. and I'm like, oh fuck, that's right, Loki's dropping. And like if I can make it and I feel the energy, I'll make it till 2 a.m. I did some stuff to keep me up and I made it till 2 a.m. It's currently 2:45 a.m. They always drop the episodes like 8 minutes, 9, 10 minutes before they're supposed to drop. So I saw it. Not important, I'm just pointing out it's been a long week and I completely forgot about Loki this week. But I did watch it as soon as it dropped. Made sure to kick in the brain like, oh yeah, Loki. Episode 4 had that big ending that was like, holy shit. This is like what you want from the show to pick up on. I felt 3 was a drag of an episode, but 3 was, even though it dragged, I got what they were going for the most part. 4 really kicked it back into gear that those first 2 were wanting. 5 is fucking ridiculous. Like, this show is so wacky and weird and just fucking bonkers at this point. But I'm still enjoying it. I have fun with the show. I think that the characters are doing great, and I highly would say that the costume design, very fun to look around with. The alligator. The alligator. Anytime they do like a serious moment, and then the characters all start laughing, like all the Lokis together start laughing, it's just funny to cut to a one-shot. They always do the one-shot of the alligator, just like... just fucking sitting there, dead-eyed, looking around like, what? I always find that funny. All those parts got me. The action and visuals, I would say out of the shows, WandaVision had the most creative production design and look of the show overall. I would say Falcon Winter Soldier had the best action, like, in terms of explosives, action, like that Marvel shit you want. I'd say Loki, though, has some of the best visual effects. There are some in here that are a little off-putting, but like some shit that's like very grand, very clever, very colorful, and very big. It was the show when I was watching, I was like, holy shit, this looks like really good. Like, this could be theatrical. It reminded me of some of those Doctor Strange effects with the Dormammu scene, kind of style like that and the coloring like that. Hard to talk about the episode. I am doing spoilers, obviously, so this sends Loki into the trance with all the other Lokis there. Sylvie ends up being there. because she fucking prunes herself about midway through. Mobius is obviously there, he saves her. And they kind of have this great moment where they all meet back up and they talk about how she's going to enchant this cloud god that's in this deformed world that Loki is currently in, that he got pruned to, where it's like right before the void at the end of time. This is the like endless thing that they're stuck in. And there's this cloud called Eliath, and they're like, if we can enchant the cloud, we can fucking find out who's behind it, and we can look into it and see like who is behind the TVA, because whoever's behind this cloud and is running everything at the end of the time is who's behind the TVA. Don't know how the next episode's exactly gonna go. I have an idea, but again, I wouldn't want to say it. Because let's say you watch this video and you're like, oh, I'm only on episode 5, and I only see episode 5.1. I don't want to spoil what I think could happen. Doesn't mean it will happen. So, in all theories, though, we'll see where it goes. Performances are great. Owen Wilson's still great, although it's so weird because he has a lot to do in 1 and 2. He's not all at 3 because it makes sense why he's not. And then 4 he comes back and kicks ass, and then here it's just like, oh, he's back. Like, there's no surprise to it, and there's no huge flair. Like, once you know that Loki got pruned, you're like, all right, well, Owen Wilson's fine, because if they're not gonna kill the title character of the show and the main guy we've been following for these 4 episodes, so clearly he's fine. Then we knew, like, at that exact moment, like, all right, Owen Wilson's probably fine. But still, they bring him in with, like, no repercussions, and they develop him a little bit more. He has some funny scenes like, I'm gonna go get the TVA, and he's like, I can change, I'm a good character. I can change against following the shitty company that I was with, if you can call it a company at all. And then Loki and him interact, and it's very quick, and then he's gone. I hope he's in 6. I imagine he'll be in 6 at some points, but it feels like, well, what if this was the end of Mobius? Because they almost make it feel like it kind of is for his arc, and I'm like, well, did he have an arc? It felt very minimal. It felt like the excuse to throw him out. Against that point, fun as hell episode, creative visuals. Besides episodes 1, 2, and 4, it's my next favorite. Definitely better than 3. I had fun with it. I think the finale can kill or can win over you or kind of defeat you. I think WandaVision would have been like one of my favorite MCU properties, like a top 5. It's like under it. It's like it's like number 8 or 9 for me out of all 25 at this point that have been released fully. Loki will be 26 once it's finished. And it ranked really high still. I thought it was great, but I think it's because the finale and elements of episodes 4 and 8, where I was like, this is kind of lacking. This is kind of missing some of its purpose. And I was like, 8 the finale feels a little rushed. Loki isn't necessarily feeling that weight, but like the finale of Falcon Winter Soldier and WandaVision both have that problem where it weighs it down even more than it should. I'm worried Loki might, but Loki might not. They might know how to end the show better. We'll have to see. So far though, yeah, I'm not loving it as much as WandaVision, but it doesn't mean I'm not really liking it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Glad it keeps coming out. Maybe the finale will sell me. I don't think at this point it can top WandaVision unless the finale is just fucking excellent and pieces it all together great. But good storytelling, and it's a consistent show, and I've been enjoying it and having fun. So, that's all of episode 5 review. So until episode 6, which you'll be seeing right now. It's Loki finale night. Hello, everyone, and boy, do we have a doozy. It's the finale of Loki. We are at the end of Loki. The end of season 1 of Loki. As we've been hinted, there will be a season 2. We've been hinted at least, as Kevin Feige has said. So this whole series has been a weird build-up. I've been curious, like, where the show will fully go. Like, I've been curious, like, where is the entirety of it going? We have gotten our character arc stuff out of the way. We've gotten our Loki, our Sylvie, our Mobius. We've gotten that development, I feel, out of the way to a point that's enough for us. And I'm very curious what this means for Loki in this episode. This was a great fucking episode. A way to basically develop an emotional core at the base of the story, explain a ton of shit, give you a cliffhanger, and then get out. And I think that's honestly the only way you can really do a Loki finale, is to trick you in some way, but simultaneously they were completely upfront. Like, they were being direct, like, no, this is seriously what is happening. Here you fucking go. And they tell it to you straight away. So let's get deeper into it. In the finale, we have, at the end of the last episode, we saw them take over Eliath and the god of, like, the people in the pruned world, and now all these Lokis, or the 2 Lokis we have left, Sylvie and Loki, at least our main characters, are going to see whoever is behind all this at the end of time? Who's at the end of time? The very peak of the timeline that would branch the whole world. Who is there? Who is running it all? And there's been theories everywhere online I've had my theory the whole time of who it was. The theories, just so people are knowing, are it's Miss Minutes, and that's like a secret trickster character who is just going to be a different character entirely by the ending. Loki is one of the people. They think it could be a different branch of Loki, like a different variant running it. Or the main one that seems obvious based on what we've already know about what's coming in the MCU, King the Conqueror, who will be a set-up character for Ant-Man Quantumania. Or is it Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania? Yeah, probably. We've already hinted he's the villain of that movie, and we've hinted that that movie will take place quite a bit further after some of the other movies that we're getting into, like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home. So with those three theories out of the way, you could take the assumption of who it would be, and man, fucking 7 minutes in, as soon as 7 minutes in, as soon as they show who it was, I was like, fuck yes. I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Majors. As soon as they announced he was going to be like fucking King the Conqueror, I was like, yes, and this is the King the Conqueror episode anyway. It's a ton of exposition given from him, explaining what we've seen through the show, hinting at what's to come from the timeline, and will these two Lokis affect that? And are they the cause of almost everything just because of an off-branch timeline that happened from Avengers Endgame? And it's hinted at entirely, and it makes me want to know, since we're technically in the multiverse, like, okay, I don't know exactly 100% when Loki takes place on a logical timeline, but when you look at it in some way, Far From Home is already past this point. So has the multiverse started in Far From Home, and we've already seen it, and No Way Home is going to be a big step up, and Doctor Strange will be a bigger one, and then beyond that will be Ant-Man and the Wasp? Who's to say? We get King the Conqueror, and that's like all I can say at the moment. Development-wise, we have put Sylvie and Loki in the place where they should be. They are liking each other, but you know that they are still suspicious because they are still Lokis to one another. They don't trust Loki, they can't trust, but they've also been proven not to be trustful because it's Loki. And that's like a great character arc to study, and that's good that they hinted at the ending. They've been developing this like romantic relationship, and I was like, are they going to go through with it, or is the big twist going to be like Sylvie won't be with him? Is Sylvie... I actually thought, a small amount of me thought Sylvie could be behind all of it secretly, like another one of her, specifically, a variant. Even though she's a variant of him directly, I thought maybe Sylvie could be behind it. Not the case. King the Conqueror. But they basically are told a few things from King the Conqueror. He runs the universe in a secret timeline of variants. The other variants of this King the Conqueror, or of the guy, because he's just referred to as the guy, and a lot of times the guy at the end. He who still stands, is that what they say? He who is always there. And that's him, Jonathan Majors. And he explains his backstory. There are a ton of variants of him that are peaceful and scientific and study this thing. And then there's, like, the bad ones, like the ones that would be King the Conqueror, and one grand one who would pretty much try to dominate and cause a multiversal war. And if they kill this one who's here, that'll cause the multiversal war to just go fucking apeshit and guarantee happen. Or he gives them the other option that these two Lokis, Sylvie and Loki, will do his job and continue to run a fictional but direct timeline. Not fictional, but as in the way he sets it up as a story so stuff will work out. In hence time, Loki and Sylvie will run the TVA and the timeline, and they'll control everything from back there but be together. That's the two things that they're given. And if they don't take, they gotta take one of those offers, and the episode develops into Sylvie and Loki fighting. Loki believes in this guy in some ways, despite him being, like, kind of insane, and he's getting that, obviously, vibe, which Jonathan Majors does a fucking excellent job in this episode. And that just pushes Loki to be like, I do believe him even if he's crazy. Like, we should see what it could be. We need to think about it. But that's not been Sylvie's goal. Sylvie's goal is to go straight for it and just not trust. Even though there's clearly an emotional side of her that still is there to trust Loki. They kiss, they have an emotional breakdown, but then she kind of betrays Loki, and she pushes him back into the TVA, and she ends up killing what we know is the guy at the end of the time, King the Conqueror. And killing him sets off a branch of crazy shit that is not linear. The multiverse is starting, people. It's fucking happening. It's gonna be crazy. We can just tell from this episode. It's gonna be nuts. And then Loki gets back at the TVA to go talk to, like, Mobius and stuff, explain, like, who's about to take over, what's actually happening with the branch, what is the big thing that's going to come together. And when he talks to him, Mobius doesn't recognize him, and then immediately we see the statue being, like, fully portrayed of Kang the Conqueror, like, the one that I think we're supposed to be worried about taking over, and King the Conqueror is a fucking statue in the middle of the TVA, and Loki's shocked, and then it fucking ends. And I'm gonna get close and personal. Let me tell you, does it not just end because it ends? It ends, like, on a cliffhanger that is so fucking weird, because it ends with what I just said, the statue shot, and you're like, there's gonna be an end credit scene. I was like, will it be a Thor 4 thing? Will it be a Ant-Man thing? A more setup for Kang, a setup for Sylvie where she is at the moment? Or the obvious one, would it be Spider-Man and or Doctor Strange, because that's the multiverse stuff that we're mainly hearing about at the moment? None of them. It is a document that says Loki, and you see a giant stamp come down it, the stamp pulls away, and it says Loki will return in Season 2. Season 2 is for sure happening. There's not a hint anymore, it's fucking coming. The question is when. And that question of when kind of makes me go, like, Loki set up this giant spiral that's about to make all the movies kind of go insane, like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, stuff that we've heard of. But what is it? When does Season 2 come out? I'm guessing mid-next year, around this time of next year. But that's after Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, if so. And I'm like, by that point, won't we have more answers? Won't we get the logics to Kang? Or is Loki to set up Kang's multiverse arc to go to Ant-Man, and then the Doctor Strange and Spider-Man stuff is more them dealing with the multiversal situation that Kang dealt with, where he dealt with variants of himself and had to fight them. We're already hearing rumors about Spider-Man having variants of the Green Goblin character, and then the one from a variant will be evil and try to take over. Is that going to be the same thing as Kang's variants try to take over the peaceful ones back in their place? And I'm curious if that's maybe what No Way Home could have an element of. But it just makes you fucking curious. So, now that the series is done, and I can't just say the episodes are good or bad, I would give this one an 8 out of 10. I wish it developed a little bit more on Loki, and I wish we had more time with the people of the TVA. Hunter B-15 and Mobius are very minimally used, same for Renslayer. And I think that's just a thing with Marvel finales, but this one is the strongest Marvel finale because it does have a message, and it is saying Season 2 for sure. So it's giving more time and development for me to be like, I trust what they're going with here, and I have to give it still a great rating. Overall for Loki, in an arc of a full show, it was a really fun start, a very unique development. It has a lot of great character moments, but some moments are weak. Episode 3 is a very weak and slow episode. I still thought, does everything add up? Like, how quick the relationship builds between Loki and Sylvie? There are elements of Mobius that I wish were more developed, like especially in the final 3 episodes, he feels very minimally used. He feels more like, oh, he's great in these first 2, and you love to see him, but they just don't do a ton with him. What will this mean for the other Lokis? What will this mean for the multiverse? This show has just made you think, like, it's a great show in storytelling for the multiverse setup, but is it a great character show? Is it a great show for Loki himself? It's a fun watch. I think Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, and the cast are great. But I think overall it's not the best Marvel show of the 3 we've gotten. Even with the best finale, because the other 2 finales have been fairly weak. I definitely like this more than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought that was a very 6 out of 10. I honestly did not love that show. I thought WandaVision was probably my favorite still. Even with the weak finale, I thought overall it had the best mystery, the most intrigue, the best character arc overall, I feel. Maybe I'll think about Loki a little bit more, and it will be that, but they're on like a... I think Loki's a bit lower for me. I still enjoyed the hell out of the show, and it is fucking exciting where we are going in the MCU, and it shows that the MCU is still not running out of steam. It's crazy as hell to think that. So overall, for me, I'm going to give Loki Season 1, and this is my rating for this whole video that'll now be big. I'm going to give Loki Season 1 7 out of 10. No, you know what? Yeah, 7 out of 10. I'm trying to like think 7.5, 7. I'm thinking 7 out of 10 for now. But, oh, man. Yeah, it's really hard to think on this show. Because there's so much I like love about it, and then there's minimal parts where I'm like, oh, but that didn't work as great as it could have when I really think about some moments. but I was very entertained. Like, overall, like, I could watch a show again and be very entertained. Like, on the levels of, like, maybe the first Ant-Man quality, where I'm like, this is, like, really good, actually. It just has elements that are all perfect. You know what? I'll be happy for once and give that ending. I'm going to give my real official rating. I would say a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I think for me, a 7.5 out of 10 would be my official score, and I don't think that's going to change. But, so yeah, that's the end of this Loki series of reviews. I've recorded them the night of watching them all weekly, and here we are at the finale. I will be doing a Black Widow spoiler review that'll probably be up after this one, and man, crazy what Marvel's doing. It's so much content. Now we have What If, and I don't know if that's going to connect in any way or if that's just going to be that fun little spin-off show that talks about multiverse ideas. I'm guessing that's what that'll be. But just to think, like, this year left, we still have fucking Shang-Chi. We still have What If, Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, it's insane how much we're getting. And it's going to be great to see where they go. So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this Loki series review as I did these week by week. For the other Marvel shows, I will probably do something similar to this as they come out. I just said my thoughts on WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier. I was not doing the channel at the time those were coming out. But I'll continue to do it for all Marvel content still. And reviews coming soon. So, 7.5 out of 10. Goodbye.